Hello, parents and colleagues. Welcome to another episode of Founder to Founder. My name is Felicia Wright, and for this episode, I traveled to Tampa, Florida, and I interviewed Charlene Favorite. She is such a powerhouse, and I can't wait for you to meet her. Charlene is the founder and lead teacher of the Homeschool Village in Little Springs of Tampa. Charlene is a mother of 3 beautiful children. When she became pregnant with her first child, parenting was the first topic on her mind. She knew she wanted to provide a childhood rooted in love, tenderness, understanding, connection, and authenticity. She consulted with a holistic early childhood educator that gave her books to awaken her to the journey as a parent. Redefining the parenting paradigm has been her biggest gift to herself and her children, and she wanted to share that with the world. This is how Little Springs of Tampa and the Homeschool Village emerged. These programs are an extension of her curriculum outlined for her own children and cultivated to fit all children she teaches. I can't wait for you to meet her and enjoy. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Founder to Founder. We are here with Charlene today with her Microschool, and it is so beautiful. I'm so excited for everybody out there to see this Microschool, the garden, because I'm going to show all sorts of shots and everything of your Microschool. So I'm super excited for everybody to see. So let's go ahead and get started. Tell us about you and your Microschool.
Okay, so I'm Charlene. I've been doing this Microschool life, I would say, since 2017. It started as a playgroup for my kids. They were significantly younger, and I wanted to have that consistency of just outdoor play with the kids.
Yeah.
They were like toddlers at the time. And so it started from there. I got a group of people who were interested in just meeting together consistently every week. And then by 2021, it grew into just the Microschool. So that same group followed us, and we wanted more consistency in our meetups. And so we decided to actually start out on a farm. We started from there. We had our farm curriculum. I was doing all of the curriculum planning. Nice. We had, it's like a reinventing of the one-room schoolhouse. So we had all ages, diverse ages there, from age 5 all the way to age 11. Okay. And we rocked that out for a few years, and then we landed here where we have our own space, and we're able to utilize all of our curriculum planning together, just in a different way.
Nice. So what about your background led you to start doing the groups with your children? Like, how did you start that? Like, why?
Yeah, I was homeschooled myself.
Right? Oh, okay.
So I was
awesome.
homeschooled until middle school. I really started to integrate more with other kids. But I was homeschooled myself for elementary, and I would meet up, like do little play groups together, like after school programs with elementary school kids. But I liked the idea of being homeschooled. I was able to have a lot instilled in me, and a lot of the values instilled in me. And so from there, I knew I wanted to do that for my children, but I also knew I wanted them to have other children to grow with and to create this village. And so it grew from there. The mission kind of grew from there.
That's really exciting for me because I wasn't homeschooled, but my children are on this homeschooling journey. So I'm not operating from a place of knowing. I'm an educator, but not operating from a place of knowing what the homeschooling journey was like as a child. What was like the best part of it for you when you were growing up?
I think the best part was co-curricular education.
Okay.
So there wasn't a compartmentalization of the subjects. One subject or one activity encompassed so many subjects at the same time. And so that's what I do here too.
Okay.
So I have something here that I do at the Homeschool Village called our kitchen classroom. We also have a garden classroom. And for example, in our kitchen classroom, we might be doing a project on, let's say, the Middle East. And so our food will reflect that when we cook together on Thursdays. We're making pita bread from scratch. We're making hummus. We're making tabbouleh. We're making things that are associated with what we've been learning throughout the week. And there we're bringing in science, mathematics, social studies, history, anything you can think of, we're putting it into there, even logic and critical thinking.
I will say, like, my oldest, she loves to bake. So we started talking about fractions at a very early age. Yeah. And I like that you brought up that, like, everything is encompassing because going back to my experience being in public school, everything was done in isolation. I do the problems, but I didn't really care because it was just problems on paper and it didn't really relate to anything.
Yeah.
So I like that you brought that up. So since we're talking about your program, what can families expect when they go to your website or come to you? Like, what do you have to offer?
Yeah. So you can expect a program that is really big on land stewardship, really big on cultural ideologies being integrated into the lessons, really big on just outside the box thinking, outside the box education. Because what we do here is, even if there are worksheets, we make sure that it's reinforced with hands-on engagement.
Yeah.
All the time throughout the week. So a lot of the times, like by the end of the week, the kids go and they're like, yeah, we had so much fun this week. We played and we did a lot of storytelling, right? And for them, that's what they realize. But really, they're doing so many subjects that's encompassed into one. So you can expect a customized curriculum for your child that is going to be hands-on for them as well.
Okay, and is your program Monday through Friday? What does that look like?
It's Monday through Friday. We also have an option for Wednesday through Friday.
Okay.
And so we have themes of the week. And so on Wednesdays, for example, we have Woods Wednesday, where we go into the woods and we explore.
Oh my goodness.
And it depends on our topic. So we do project-based learning every 7 weeks. We switch out our topic and focus. But we're exploring the woods and we're exploring herbs and we're learning how to pick herbs, utilize herbs for our benefit, for our medical benefits. And then on Thursday is our Hands in the Kitchen, Knees in the Garden day.
Knees in the garden.
Hands in the kitchen, knees in the garden. That's exactly what we do.
I love that.
We have our hands in the kitchen. We literally have an outdoor kitchen set up. And then we have our knees in the garden. And so we're doing garden work for half the day. And then we're doing our kitchen exploration for the other half of the day. And that's where we're bringing the lessons to life. So each child's personalized curriculum is brought into life during that time so they can truly act out and really show what they've learned throughout the week.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like their test. And then on Fridays is our field trip days.
Okay.
And our field trips are related to our project-based learning activities.
What's an example of a field trip that you've gone on that they've loved?
The library is really big.
Okay. My children love it.
The library is really big because their project-based learning assignments, after 7 weeks, they have to present it to the community. So not just their friends, not just the family, it's the community.
Yeah.
This is an event that's posted on the community website for everyone to come and see.
Okay.
And there's usually a pretty good turnout, 25 to 35 people. And so the kids are like, oh,
it can be daunting.
So, yeah. And so they put a lot of work into that. And so in the libraries, they're like, we have to look up our project. We have to get this right because we want to present the right information.
Yeah.
So that's a big one. And then depending on our project, last time we had self-sustainability. And so the children were able to learn from elders in the community about how to really show self-sustainability.
Okay.
So for example, they did pottery. I have it over here. They did clay. We had a basket weaver who actually weaved a whole basket. We have someone who wood whittled a spoon.
Wow.
So they get really creative. These are not just like baby projects. These are like huge projects that impact the rest of the community.
That's really cool. I really like the hands-on stuff. And with my microschool, we would invite the community in as well. And I think the beauty of that, and I think a lot of microschools have been doing that, is because I believe that it takes a community to raise a child. And then parents and other parents coming in and talking to the other children of like, hey, like, why'd you pick this? I think it's so important for them to be able to make eye contact, have a conversation with people other than family, because it could be hard even for adults. Like, and now they've been doing it so much, like they're so articulate and they can explain their ideas, and I think that's beautiful. Them just being able to like show like, this is my creation.
Yes,
it's all about the creativity. But I wanted to circle back to the land recognition that you mentioned, because I read it on your website and I was like, this is beautiful. So can you tell everybody more about that and what that looks like?
So I will actually say our land recognition. I have it here.
Okay, perfect.
And then we'll kind of deep dive into it together.
I would love that.
So we wish to acknowledge and honor the indigenous communities who lived and took stewardship of the land upon which we gather. We recognize that the program of the Homeschool Village was built on the indigenous homelands and resources of the Seminole, Microschool, and Tocobaga people, as well as their ancestors going back over 10,000 years. We acknowledge the painful history of genocide and forced removal from their territory, and we honor and respect the many diverse indigenous peoples still connected to this land on which we gather. This is a call for all of us to commit to continuing to learn how to be better stewards of the land that we inhabit. And this land acknowledgement was helped put together by the Seminole Tribe of Florida, so that we can give proper acknowledgement for those who came before us. And so at the Homeschool Village, we are really serious about that. Our whole thing is living softly on the land, so that we're not interfering with the true essence of the land itself. We see the land as another spirit that's like here to support us. I mean, we grow from this land, right?
Yeah.
So we're also all plant-based facility, and so they kind of have that connection of, okay, well, we're eating plants, and the plants are coming from the land that we're taking care of, and we're learning how to live on it softly. And so the insects, from down to the insects, we have respect for them. They all have their place, and we do too.
Yeah.
And so having that acknowledgement also shows the children that we are more than what society says we are now. We are a group of people connected indefinitely to those who were here before us. And so it's an art of practicing Sankofa, which is looking back to the history, looking back to the past to see how we can bring that information forward and how we can be better for our society now. And so that's what we practice all the time. Sankofa.
Wow. Sankofa.
Yes.
That's amazing. And, you know, like for me, when I read that and then hearing you talk about it, I feel like that's so, all of this is like so lost across like the nation. Like you don't know where the land came from. So I think that's a beautiful thing, especially for the kids.
Oh, yeah.
Or do the kids like know, do you do a lot of units on those tribes and stuff? And do they know a lot of the history?
We do a lot of history units. So we're still culturally centered. We're African centered at its core. And so every subject that we integrate has something to do with our people, and across the diaspora. And so we're always asking, what was our people doing during this time?
Yeah.
What were we doing during this time? And how does that look like in modern times? And so we have many books in our book library that kind of highlight these tribes specifically here. Because for those people who say, well, I don't know where I'm from, I don't have a connection.
Yeah.
Well, if you think back and you ask, like the elders in your family, they mostly pinpointed to here. Like, this is your land. And so this is where you were inhibiting. And so how can we make that connection? And so we utilize that by, again, bringing different cultures into the mix, because we know that cultures are pretty much encompassing all of the same things. Down from the food, down to the way that we speak, the cultural expressions. They have a basis of sharing. It's very African of them, you know?
Yeah.
And so we use the Ngozo Saba, which is here. It's our Kwanzaa principles we have on the wall, to constantly remind them that this is how we are moving through. So this month specifically, we started with Umoja, and which is unity. And we're just kind of moving through the principles, the Kwanzaa principles each month. And we're also incorporating more of our land recognition. We have our own curriculum for land stewardship. And so that kind of helps push the awareness.
Yeah. Because a lot of that information is lost. So that's amazing. I want to shift gears just a little bit and tell me about, like, a lot of parents want this kind of learning for their children. And I'm curious, like, because coming from Nevada to Florida, which is a school choice state, like, how have the ESAs been able to help families afford microschools, and how do ESAs affect your microschool and parents coming?
Okay. ESA, what do you mean by ESA?
The education savings accounts for the kiddos. Are they able to utilize that? And then,
like the EAP scholarship?
Yes.
Oh,
yes. From Step Up?
Yeah, from Step Up. Okay. It does help because it allows for children to get the full experience. So most of the time, microschools, even though we're not nonprofit, we still need funds in order to keep it running.
Yeah.
And so sometimes when we're relying on the funds just without the scholarship assistance, it can be a little difficult. Because we do have to charge for being here. In order to make the experience what it is, we have to charge. And so the scholarships allows that assistance, because now the parents can come here. I don't want to say for free, but they can come here without having to worry about, oh my gosh, when is the next cycle coming through? When is the next bill due? And that kind of gives them the weight off. And so now the education can be put on the the focus can be put on what it needs to be put on. So I have homework for the parents too, all the time. Just for this hurricane, for example, the homework was to bake pumpkin muffins with your children.
Oh, fun.
Okay, show that. Here's a recipe. Here's a step-by-step guide. I have a video for it. And here's you showing, you getting in the kitchen with your children, because we're not taking over for the education. We're just infusing the education in a different way while the parents are working or have other obligations.
Okay.
So I think the scholarship itself allows for the focus to be truly on education and not that rat race of, do I have enough money for this?
Yeah.
It's just like purely education. And this is how it's the reciprocity.
Yeah.
I would say this is how we can make it happen.
I find it so fascinating because I have 3 babies, you have 3 babies, and coming from a non-school choice state, I think it's beautiful that like Florida residents have access. It's all about access and choice in my eyes. So like being able to participate in a program like this, or public school or charter school, because I truly believe that not everything is, or public school's not for everybody. This isn't for everybody. And having those options are important. So that's why I wanted to ask you about that and see like how the families are faring with it.
It's helping a lot.
Yeah, that's amazing. So just curious, what do you see going forward with your microschool? Like, how do you want to expand? Do you want to serve more families, or are you happy here? Like, I'm just curious, what's next?
Right now, I service up to 12 children because
Okay.
it's me alone, and I'm doing the curriculum planning. I do see in the future expanding to accommodate more children, having more teachers a part of the experience. I still want it to be close-knit and very familiar, and integrating all of the different philosophies of education that I do integrate here. So in order for that to happen, I think the student-to-teacher ratio has to be particular.
Yes.
Because then we'll be just recreating the system that the children are coming from. Most of the children in my program are coming from public institutions and sometimes private, but they're used to big, large classes with maybe 24, 25 children to one teacher.
Yeah.
And so it helps that it's a smaller class setting. If one kid cries, it's like, what's happening?
Are
and
you
they're like,
all right?
You're attentive to me, right?
Yeah.
You're paying attention to me, and that's how it should be. So care and education should be communal in that sense. And so as long as it's kept communal, I'm all for it. So I do see myself expanding in that area. But I do see myself really walking into the realm of creating curriculums for other microschools and other schools and programs. I do that now, but on a smaller scale. I would like to do that more often, where I'm integrating culture into their educational dynamics.
Oh, that's amazing. Because like not all of us educators, microschool owners want to write curriculum. So I'll definitely put that in the description below.
Yes.
I know personally I am not one of those people.
Yes.
That's an outsourced thing. But I know like a lot of microschooling leaders actually offer the curriculum to other microschools, which is an amazing thing. So my last question is, if a parent is struggling and they are looking for an alternative to wherever they are, what kind of advice would you give them?
I would say see if there's people that you can connect with who have that same need. So think about the values that you have. Think about what you're looking to see and what you're looking to create. And see if there's other families who have those same values. Sometimes it's not all about creating your own thing, because there's other places that are doing the same thing that you want to do. It has to be communal. It has to be community. If it's individualistic thinking, it's not going to go as far. So it has to be something where you're panning together with other people and saying, hey, this is my idea. Is there anyone else in the area who's doing this? If not, can we start this together? Or if so, can we join in on this? And how can we all make it work so that we can cohesively work together? Right. And so that'll be my recommendation. And then, of course, reach out to education consultants like myself, like you too. We can always assist and getting the idea of home education different from sitting on the computer screen, learning from YouTube, or something like that. It can be a different approach to it.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you for saying that, because again, community is everything, and I think that that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for inviting us here. It is beautiful. My children, you probably hear the kids in the background.
Yeah.
It's our children in the background enjoying the space. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And I will put all your links and descriptions in the box. And if you want to get in contact with Charlene, where can they contact you if they want to contact you?
You can go to the website, www.thehomeschoolvillage.org, and I'll be there. You can always go to contact us. You'll see my number on there. You can text me. My number is 813-563-6098. We're always available via text. I do want to say, too, that the children that we are teaching now, like we're in a new paradigm shift. Mm-hmm. And so the children that we are raising now are so different.
Yeah.
They come to this planet, they already have their mission, they have their vision, so to say. And they're kind of like raising us in a way. As we're going through collectively, as we're going through healing, we're going through different awarenesses of ourselves and our personalities and our childhood traumas, and we're doing all the work. And our children are here, I think, to remind us to do the work so that they can live differently. And so this is how generations have changed over time. This is how we can improve. So our children should be an improvement on our design. And we are there to facilitate that improvement for them. And so educationally, this is where it starts. And how we are exposing them to things that are important. Are we keeping adultism out of the way and allowing them to be children and really cultivating the space of wonder for children in their childhood? So I think that's important. So remember that
important.
when you are raising your children, even though the current events and everything's going on around that, pushing adultism to the side, because especially for brown and black children who identify as that, they already have to grow up so quickly in the environment, especially our boys, because once they get 5 or 6, they're now looked at as rambunctious and they're looked at as having too much energy. And so these stigmas are real, even though it might not have been real for you growing up, right?
Yeah.
These stigmas are real in the society. And so we're just cultivating it in a different way.
I'm happy you brought that up. Like, that's so important. And I have a 4-year-old boy, and I think about that stuff too for myself. And maybe you can give me some tips later. But I worry about him. But thank you so much for sharing.
You're
that.
welcome.
And I know everybody out there will really benefit. And please reach out if you have any other questions or something I forgot to ask. Like, please reach out to Charlene, and we will catch you on the next episode.
Okay.